The first item will be approval of the minutes of June 26th. Following that, we do have an A&R from Michael and Diana Nickel of 188 New Boston Road. At 6:35, we have a public hearing for the site plan review for the proposed Pine Lake Recreational Vehicle Resort, formerly Yogi Bear's Jellystone Resort, at 30 River Road. At 7:15, we'll have a discussion on the building plans for a project site at 234 and 236 Haines Street. At 7:30, we'll have the town planner update, followed by old and new business, and then adjournment. I hope everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes of June 26th. Any questions, comments, or changes? Okay, there being none, I'll take a motion to accept them.
So
Sorry,
moved.
can I make one change? On the very last page, it should say continues to bring to light instead of may bright to light.
I'm surprised we missed that.
Where is that?
On page 4 under the town planner update.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'll accept a motion then to accept it with that revision.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Opposed, no one? Motion passes. Okay, we have a few minutes before the public hearing. Would you like to start with your,
We have an A&R.
Oh, we do have the A&R, you're right.
There was a supplement to the,
okay. I mentioned that, you're right. Do you want to go over that? We have
Yes,
it here.
I will. So you have a plan before you for two parcels on New Boston Road, 188 and 186 New Boston Road. And these are actually being combined into one parcel. The owners of 188 are purchasing 186. So the plan meets the requirements, so I would recommend the board endorse the plan submitted.
Okay. Motion then to endorse the A&R.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Clerk will sign. We have about 2 minutes, I guess. Do you have anything you want to go over?
Sure.
Is this your notes?
So, I think Mr. Blanchard was the only one that was able to make it last night to the Board of Selectmen's meeting, but Central Mass Regional Planning Commission did a presentation on the Route 15 corridor study that they recently completed. I had provided you all with copies of the study, and there's a PowerPoint that they had that we'll be putting on our website tomorrow on the planning, if you go to the planning board section. And then I would expect in the near future, we'll be working with the Board of Selectmen to try to figure out the most viable options out of those recommended and to move forward with some potential bylaw amendments for that area. The next meeting is August 14th. Mr. Chisholm cannot attend. He had actually had a scheduled vacation before he was appointed to the planning board, so he needs to be excused for the evening. And we probably don't have time, but I want to wrangle somebody into being the CMRPC representative before we leave tonight, so I'm looking for volunteers. But
Yeah, has anyone given that any more thought since we discussed it last time?
Some.
Frank?
I'd like a little bit more clarification, but. Yeah.
okay. So the information I sent you,
Yeah, I just have a couple questions.
okay.
That's all.
So are we appointing you or are we
I
waiting?
think so, yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
yes.
Well, do you want to ask questions now, or do you want to?
No, that's fine. They were minor questions that are,
Okay.
not all that significant, but sure.
Okay.
So I'm taking that as he's volunteering.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So then we'll take a motion then to appoint Frank to be the representative to CMRPC.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Great, congratulations. Thank you, Frank. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Very good. Okay, it is 6:35, and we do have a public hearing on the site plan request, so if you'd like to read that.
In accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 11, and the Town of Sturbridge zoning bylaws, the Sturbridge Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 17, 2018, at 6:35 p.m. in the Central Office Building, Meeting Room, located at 301 Main Street, Sturbridge, on the application of Philip Murray RV Management Services, BS LLC. The applicant requests site plan approval as required by Chapter 25 of the zoning bylaws for the redevelopment of the site at 30 River Road. The proposal for Pine Lake RV Resort includes demolition of existing buildings and redevelopment, including renovating campsites, new bathhouses and laundrettes, 3 conference centers, 1 swimming pool, a storage building, an on-site wastewater treatment facility, and related site improvements. A copy of the site plan and application can be inspected in the office of the town clerk during normal office hours. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this petition should appear at the time and place designated.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing. We'll have a presentation from the proponent, and then we'll have the opportunity for members of the planning board to ask questions, and then after that, we'll open up to the public if there are any questions from the public. We all have actually had the opportunity to visit the facility, tour the site, and that's been very helpful. I think everyone had a chance to see that, so that helped us an awful lot in understanding what's going on. So if you'd like to introduce yourself and begin your presentation, that would be great.
By all means, thank you very much. And my name is Philip Moreau, and I am the owner of the new Pine Lake RV Resort, having bought it from Sean and Ann Finnecane back in mid-April. And I have been in the RV business for roughly 22 years, have tromped through 2,000 or more RV resorts, and it was with great pleasure and enthusiasm that we purchased this beautiful little piece of property over on River Road, 30 River Road, formerly known as the Yogi Bear RV Resort. So what I'd like to do is just kind of give you all an overview of where we're going with this development. I feel like I'm getting lighter every minute because we have a team of 4 high-powered professionals that have been helping me formulate this business plan here in attendance tonight, and we'll hear a little bit from each of them. So with your permission, take your shoes off, sit back, relax, and let me tell you a little story about what we're hoping to do at the new Pine Lake RV Resort. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, not that.
I'm sorry, no, it's nothing happening.
No, just hit enter. That'll shut off the projector. Okay.
So first and foremost, being conservative board members as you are, what is the impact of this renovation of this RV resort that has been in existence for about 50, how many years, Dan? 52 years. And Dan, how many years have you been there? And we're lucky to have Dan as part of our team. But the park has been there for 52 years, and it's grown sideways and upside down and left and right, and it was what you saw when you toured it the other day. We believe that we're going to talk a little bit about the impact. We're going to go talk about before and after. Here's what it was before, very briefly. Here's what it is going to look like, similar to the other parks that we own and operate. We right now have 11 parks, including this one, 9 of which are operational and 2 of which are in incubation. We're going to touch on who we are, who is RV management. What planet did I come from? And what am I doing here? What are we doing here? We're going to talk about our principles as a firm. We're going to talk about this RV industry at a glance, a real quick little summary of how strong and how vibrant this RV industry is that has now become cool and hip and fun when it used to be kind of yuck. We're going to talk about our renovation. We're going to go into our infrastructure, what we're going to do there. And with that, we're going to hear from Dave Formato and Steve Brissett and Scott Morrison and Andy Baum, who have been helping us formulate our infrastructure. We're going to go into our buildings. We're going to have quite a few new buildings at the property, and we'll get into those. And we have Steve Fleischman, our architect, to help us with that endeavor. And then we're going to talk about what this park is going to be once we build it all out. I mean, we got to run it. We got to make some money. We got to, we got to have some fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about the amenities in the park. Okay, you with me so far? Great. Click. So our project is very simple. We're going to renovate and have a significant upgrade of a 2-star RV resort and turn it into a 5-star RV resort. And I won't say anything negative other than 2 stars of the Yogi Bear is maybe being a little generous. So we're going to really transform a property that was struggling into a property that is spectacular. Next, please. The impact to the town. Well, the use remains the same. It's an RV resort today. It was an RV resort 52 and a half years ago, 52 years ago, and it's going to be an RV park, RV resort tomorrow. It really was more of a, what I would call a campground before, and then it kind of evolved into an RV campground, and now it is going to be an RV resort in every sense of the word. We believe that this use is in harmony with the Route 15 corridor. I'd be anxious to see that report. I remember the breakfast meeting we attended, where the very first item on what is this Route 15 corridor all about, the first one was outdoor recreation. Here we are, outdoor recreation. So we believe that we're in harmony there. We are going to reduce the overall size of the park from roughly 400 sites down to about 330 to 340. Succinctly stated, we would rather have 340 really good, superior sites than 400 jam-packed cracker box sites. So we're going to take the existing sites and decrease the number by 15 to 20%. That's a loss of maybe 40, 50, 60 sites. And we're going to put forward a much better, higher-end product. Okay. We don't see this as being a drag on the town's resources. The water, we use town water with fewer sites. We should use fewer water. We're going to eliminate one of the swimming pools. That could be a nice savings of water. The traffic, again, fewer sites, fewer people, less traffic impact. The sewer, as you will learn, we're going to provide our own wastewater treatment facility and handle all of our own sewer. So the impact to the town of the sewer system there in the past has been 0, and it will continue to be 0. The electric, the park right now has it's a primary customer of the local utility, and we will continue to be a primary customer. We have in-house expertise to design our entire electric distribution system. It's really quite a lot of fun, and it's huge savings on the electric bills, both to our RVers and to the electric bill that we pay for our common use areas. As to the safety, it's funny, we had a member of the Conservation Commission at the park today, and his comment was, I bet the police are jumping up and down and thanking you so much because the calls and the aggravation that this park will generate should go substantially down. We're going to bring in a much sought-after demographic. The average RVer is, go ahead and, the average RVer looks a lot like, who's that guy? Robin? Looks a lot like Robin Williams.
It does. Yeah.
We should hope. But the average RVer is 46, 47 years old, makes $75,000 a year, has a family of 4, and wants to throw the dog and the family in the RV, get away from all the screens, and have a meaningful exchange and dialogue in the outdoor open air. It's almost inherent in our nature to want to be outside in that environment. And we're going to provide an environment where it's kind of like back in the old days, where your mother would say, Philip, you know, it's 10 o'clock, go out and have a great day, and meet me up by the pool at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and you might want to go and check out the Arts and Crafts Center, and you might want to go swimming in the lake, or you might want to go enjoy the pickleball or the badminton or the miniature golf, but just be sure to meet us at the pool at 3 o'clock. And that mom knows that her son is safe and is in a safe environment, and that's what we create at our parks. We are all about family values and family fun. I'm not real sure that that was the mantra of the park prior to us buying it. It will be the mantra going forward, but we really inherited a park that has about 400 sites. Of those 400, only 18, I believe, 17 or 18 sites had 50 amp RV, which is kind of essential for these beautiful high-end motorhomes. What's happening in the RV industry is the motorhomes are getting nicer and nicer. The fifth wheels, the tow behinds, they're all getting just great. And the RV parks haven't kept pace. And that creates the opportunity that I try to fill. Find a hole and fill it. So the stock of vehicles that were allowed into the park was very low. The city water, they were on city water. They had serious sewer issues. They failed to have a discharge permit, which is mandatory for a park of that size. They did have private electric, but the installation of it and the condition of it was just not good. The building facilities were well below average, and the most valuable asset of the park, the 8-acre Pine Lake, was struggling. There's been no swimming allowed in there for the last couple of years. The shoreline is starting to choke from sediment due to improper soil and erosion control, sediment control and erosion. So nonetheless, that park was amazingly popular, and it did well. And I think a lot of us here in Sturbridge have fond memories of the park when it was really good. And unfortunately, it kind of fell off that track. But we're going to change that. So we're going to come in and, go ahead, create a pristine RV resort with approximately 340 sites. Every site will have full hookup. It'll have 50, 30, and 20 amp service. We'll have cable TV. We'll have state-of-the-art Wi-Fi at every site. The sites will be level. The sites will be not spacious, but they'll be generous. And this park will join the 9 beauties. The Bible of the RV industry is Woodall's Travel and RV Guide. That is our inside back cover advertisement that generates really nice business for us. And it shows the location of our 9 other parks that we operate now. The 10th one is in Madison, Virginia, not shown. And the Boston is not shown yet. Sturbridge is not shown yet. So after renovation, we will have a state-of-the-art resort center that will look very similar to that building on the left. That's our recreation center, is what we call it, at Virginia Beach, that was just recently built. Inside there, you'll see a warming kitchen, and this is more of a conference center look as opposed to the resort center. But this conference center here will be a prime place for our RVers who like to have rally groups, or for church groups, or for scout groups that are staying at the park. So we'll have 3 conference centers. We'll have a state-of-the-art resort center, and Steve Fleischman will speak a little bit more about those buildings. We'll have 6 private bathhouses. These are pictures of various bathhouses that we have at various parks. Our bathhouses will have private restroom facilities that have a shower, sink, and toilet, as opposed to the group communal open shower atmosphere that I think we've probably all outgrown. A couple of the laundrettes of the bathhouses will have very nice laundrettes as well. So all in all, we'll have 6 private bathhouses, 33 private bathroom suites, and 4 laundrettes, all for the service and enjoyment of our RVers. Okay? We're going to have a beautiful new, right now there are 2 pools on the property, neither of which I would swim in, but we're going to have a new large pool similar to the pools that we've created elsewhere. The pool on the left is at our resort outside of Las Vegas. That's a beautiful pool, beautiful picture, and the pool will look exactly like that with a spa. You can see it has a 16-foot spa. The adjacent bathhouse will have outdoor showers, as you see down here in this lower right picture, and they'll have shade structures similar to what you see in the middle picture there. So we'll have just 1 good pool rather than 2 not so good pools. Okay? We'll have in the front area, when you come into the resort, there'll be a resort center, and then there'll be where the existing pool is now, there'll be a beautiful community patio open area that will have fire pits similar to what we have there. That's a sunken fire pit and a round fire pit over on the right. Beautiful grass, beautiful places for people to come. The area will be landscaped to within an inch of its life. And that will be kind of the quadrangle, if you will, with the store in the front and 2 conference centers at the back part of that little quadrangle. Okay? We know how to build a pretty RV site. This is our property outside of Pennsylvania that has a climate very similar to here. And there you can see the new landscaping that we put in between each site. These are all brand new sites. When I bought that park, those sites were not there. You can see the spaciousness of the park, of the sites down below. And that's a really dynamic picture of what the RV industry is all about today. So we'll have level sites, we'll have Wi-Fi, and we'll have cable TV. Okay, so that's kind of the after. We've seen the before, and now we just have to get to the after. Who are we? I started this company after having been in the RV business for a long time. I've now been in the RV business for about 22 years. I went to school for 22 years. I went to law school at Washington University. I played basketball down at North Carolina. I also have a graduate tax law degree, and I'm also an accountant. And with those credentials, I'm entitled to go around in my T-shirt and a can of beer and sit with my RVer buddies and talk about the world situation and what a mess we're in. But that's kind of who I am. I'm married. I live in California. I have a beautiful 11-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son who has a black belt and who's the tallest kid in his class. And all I ever wanted was a son that could get up over the rim and jam the basketball. And he is 6 feet at the age of 13, 14 with a size 13 shoe. And I think I got my wish. And when he beats me in basketball, that'll be a bad day or a good day. At any rate, we have 11 properties in 7 different states. We're primarily focused in the Mid-Atlantic and in the Southwest. That would be the Phoenix, Las Vegas, Palm Springs, little triangle that is the home to what we call snowbirds. We have 11 very skilled and loyal on-site managers. We have 5 principals of the company that have a combined 100 years' experience in the RV industry. And we have Dan White. We have Dan White, who has been at this property for 52 years and has shown me where every stone and skeleton are buried. So, fortunately, there's not too many skeletons. But Dan has agreed to stay on, as has Kim, and they were the only 2 of the staff that are going to be continuing on with the new park. And Dan, what do you think? Are you ready for this? Okay. Kim?
I know I am.
Okay.
Great, that's great.
All right, I'm not so sure, but we have very strong financials. We have private equity sources. We have outstanding banking relationships, and I'm going to need both those to get this job built.
Great.
And we have really good banking relationships, which is very important in
Great.
this day and age. Okay? Our mantra, we believe that it's all about family values and family fun. If you look at the demographic of the RV industry, where do you want to be? You want to be in the bell curve. You want to be in the biggest part of the bell curve. Yeah, they're retirees way out here, snowbirds, and they account for 10, 15%. And there's the younger kids, the millennials that are driving the business right now, and they're kind of over here, another 10 to 15%. But the bell curve is that family value, family fun demographic, and that's the demographic that we want to attract here to Sturbridge.
Right.
And that, I'm telling you, is a healthy demographic. We are managed, we have 2 rules. The RVer is always right, and if you think the RVer is wrong, read Rule 1 again.
Great. Phil, I think that's been a really good introduction. I certainly appreciate that. And I know that, we all enjoyed visiting with you and seeing, your presentation before on this. We do have kind of a process here that we would like to go through on the site plan review. Obviously, this information is presented to the town. Jane has forwarded this to all the various departments for review. And we do have a report. And our primary thing here is to make sure that it does comply with our current bylaws and so forth. I think you've done a great job in explaining what the benefits are going to be and the improvement for this site is going to be over what it is now. And so if you don't mind, what I would like to do maybe is take a few minutes and have Jane go over her report on this thing, and then we can get any questions from the people that you have that are supporting these infrastructure improvements and so
Okay,
forth.
and if I could just beg
Sure.
to have each of my professionals just say a word about
Sure.
their involvement in the project.
That'd be great.
Because this is a team effort,
Oh,
and
it certainly
takes
looks like it is. and we
it
certainly
takes a
appreciate
village.
that. Great. So, Gene, do you want to start, and then we could get them to introduce as it gets to that point, maybe give us an
Sure.
overview?
Yes. So as you mentioned, the application was submitted to our office back in the middle of June. We received the application on June 15th, and we forwarded the application and plans to all the various departments for review and comment. And you'll have in your packets, there's correspondence from Lieutenant John Marinelli, Fire Inspector, dated June 25th, 2018. That was recently revised yesterday to change the language on the sprinkler system to indicate that it is not required, or excuse me, it may be required if needed to meet code. There's a memorandum from Bree Eckstedt, our health agent, and that's dated July 3rd, 2018. There's a memorandum from Thomas J. Ford III, Chief of Police, dated June 25th, 2018. There's an email from Thomas Chamberlain, Tree Warden, dated July 6, 2018. A memorandum from Nelson Burlingame, Building Commissioner, dated June 27th, 2018. And of course, you have my report dated June 11th, 2018. Additional information that we reviewed as part of this was an arborist report prepared by Joe Kowalski on behalf of RV Management Services. And that report was provided to the Conservation Commission and copied to the Planning Board, and we've provided you copies of that. You'll also notice there's correspondence from the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife dated July 10th, 2018, and that was provided by the applicant. Basically indicates that they don't deem anything to be a taking through this construction and renovation process. We also have the transmittal form for the Department of Environmental Protection, for the application and payment of the wastewater treatment facility application that was submitted to the DEP on July 10th, 2018. As you are aware, the board visited the site. We went in 2 different groups. We went on June 22nd and July 10th, so every member of the board has toured the site with the applicant. So in review of the site plan criteria, there were no concerns noted by staff. There's a stormwater management report in your packet that was provided by Summit Engineering, and you'll notice that the conclusions are that the pre and post runoff will be similar when done. There's one area that will include additional impervious surface, and there is an infiltration basin proposed to mitigate the flows in that area, and I'm sure Mr. Brissette will give an overview of that. The pedestrian and vehicular safety will be improved, and that's one of the criteria of site plan. They are proposing to widen out all of the roads to make it easier to pass, to make it easier for emergency vehicles, and also to give some safety for pedestrians. And each campsite or RV site has room for the RV and an additional parking space. And as noted on the tour, there will be parking spaces around the cabins that are proposed that guests will be able to rent. There's very little visibility of this site from the public ways. We had a little bit of a concern raised by Mr. Chamberlain about encroachment into the Route 15 right-of-way. And as we heard, that will be rectified by some kind of natural barriers or by wood posts and rope, if need be, to prevent people from backing into the right-of-way there. The trash, you'll see there are several refuse stations that will be located throughout the park, and guests are encouraged to drop off his or her trash as they're leaving the park or to visit the refuse station closest to their RV and dispose of their trash in an appropriate manner. The LED lighting, that's proposed is all dark sky compliant, so there should not be any wash onto any properties of abutters or any glare into the public ways, and it will light the campground in a safe manner or the RV resort so that pedestrians can walk through the park safely in the evening. As discussed, the septic, stormwater, and stormwater systems are all being upgraded as part of this process, and I'm sure Mr. Formato will give an update on the wastewater treatment plan. There are no known adverse impacts associated with this project, and on behalf of the staff that reviewed this, I would recommend approval of this project with conditions which have been provided to the applicant.
Very good, thank you. Phil, would you like to have any of your people make any presentations on any of these areas? Because we actually,
I would please, only because I hate paying something for nothing.
sure, that's fine.
I'm feeling lighter every minute. Dave Formato has been with us since February when we first started conversations with the DEP. He is the principal at On-Site Engineering, and he is responsible for designing us a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility, a sewage collection facility, and a water distribution facility. So Dave, I'll turn it over to you, if you don't mind.
Hi, everyone. Again, Mr. Chairman, Dave Formato, On-Site Engineering. Thank you all for having me, and I'll keep this brief, obviously, to keep the process moving. It's a lot of information, obviously, to take in. Just as a point of reference, I've got this here, and thank you. We have this up on the board as well. Wanted to just talk a little bit about the overall wastewater quickly and water as well. As you can see from the site, north is pointing up in this. River Road is actually down in this area here.
To the speaker from outside.
Oh, sure, yeah, you need to speak for the public.
Sorry, better?
It's actually for the,
So River Road is up on the the top right of the image on the screen. That's the main entrance. What we're essentially looking to do is completely revamp the water and wastewater at the site. Currently, there are several existing septic systems on the site that are connected to various structures, as well as a dump station for RVs as they come and go. That entire system is going to be taken out of service. In addition, there is a combination of water that's delivered to some of the current sites as well as the buildings, but it's not continuous, and it's been kind of pieced together over the years. An entire water distribution system from the service on the street out to the farthest RV site is going to be implemented. That system's going to be somewhat of a hybrid system where park management will have the ability to, if a section of the park is going to be closed down over, say, the winter, they'll have the ability to turn certain sections off, flush them out, that type of thing, so that they're not trying to manage an entire water system that may be inactive over the winter. So we're designing a lot of flexibility into that system. On the wastewater side, every RV site is going to be provided with a wastewater hookup, so there will no longer be the need to dump your RV as you're leaving the site. In addition, all the structures that have facilities will be connected into the collection system. And the system's going to be a combination of gravity sewer and pump stations. The general, as the board is aware, oh, thank you. So as the board is aware, there's kind of a ridge that runs right through the middle of the site, higher area, and this is the lowest area. The general thought is that the majority of the sewage is going to collect generally in this area, and there's going to be a series of lift stations collecting in various spots on the site to then pump the collected sewage to this corner over here. And just for frame of reference, this right here is Route 15. So up in this back corner, where the existing mini golf course is, happens to be the largest existing septic system on the site. It's essentially original to the park. It has not failed, and the main reason is because the soils out here are fantastic. We've done a lot of testing at the site. We've done preliminary test pits, DEP witness test pits, borings, monitoring wells, and a hydrogeological analysis, which is what Gene had mentioned has been submitted to the state and is currently under review. That's the first step in the permitting process. So the intent is to have all the sewage collected in this area, treated in this area, and disposed after treatment into the subsurface effluent disposal system in this area. The mini golf course will not be there anymore. We're going to take that out. We're going to take out the existing septic system and replace that. There will be no RV sites up on this area. It's going to be solely reserved for wastewater treatment infrastructure. Any questions before I jump into kind of where we are permit-wise and where we're going? I'm trying to make sure that I move this along, obviously, because we have a lot to cover. But nope, okay. So in terms of where we're at,
This was actually in our packet, so sure, we can go through.
Yeah,
We have had an opportunity to review this, but.
sure. The general gist of this is that permitting a wastewater treatment facility, as the town is aware, because you have several in town already, is a two-step process with the state. This particular site, as Philip had mentioned, is under an ACO because of the fact that they have a bunch of septic systems and their flows are well above 10,000 gallons per day. So in this particular instance, working with the state, Philip has he's taken over that ACO and has agreed to complete it to the DEP satisfaction. And it's a two-step process. We started the process back in February, and we've completed the first step. It is now under DEP review. It's essentially something akin to like your site plan approval. We've demonstrated successfully, in our opinion, to the state that this site can support a groundwater discharge and effluent disposal of this magnitude for the 430 campsites, about 31,000 gallons per day of total sewage flow based on Title V design criteria per campsite. So the intent, again, is to get DEP approval for that. The state won't allow you to seek a permit until they've seen the material and they've approved it, saying that the site can actually support that discharge and that there will not be any adverse environmental or public health impacts to groundwater, sensitive receptors, neighbors, all that stuff. That's part of their review process. They're under that way. We anticipate that we'll be hearing from them in a positive manner sometime in August of 2018. At that point, we will submit the design of the treatment facility. The intent is to use an Amphidrame treatment system. It's a very well-regarded, it's a very robust system that's been used for these type of facilities for the past 15 to 20 years in the state. There's probably somewhere 50 to 100 of them in use right now. It's a good application for this site because it works really well under low flow conditions. So we anticipate in the winter, when the flows go way down, this system will be able to really handle those variations in flow and still provide adequate treatment when they're at full occupancy. So it's a system really designed with that type of flow in mind. And again, all the tankage and everything is anticipated to be up in that corner right next to the leach field, tucked away from the RVers, away from all the common areas. So we feel like it's a good application for that site. And, you know, that's kind of where we're at.
Wonderful, very good. Thank you, thank you very much.
Dave? And now we'll talk briefly about our stormwater management, which is a awesome, very important issue. And this is Mr. Steve Brissett with Summit Engineering.
Yeah, thank you all for actually visiting the site and taking the time to do so. Okay, presently on site, stormwater management is pretty much non-existent. Stuff is all surface flow. There's a few catch basins here and there. Basically, they don't treat any runoff, they just carry it away. There's a catch basin up in this area. It drops a pipe off right there in the street. It discharges, it runs down the road. Eventually makes its way all the way down over here into the pond and the brook. There's a few basins in here, poorly constructed, poorly designed. And again, they just convey water. Water gets there, it gets in the basin, goes into the brook. Our plan with this, with the redevelopment of this, is that from this point on, all down through here, we catch all of this water, we treat all of this water, and we eventually discharge it into the brook. Over here, I started to be jumping around, but I mean, there's all kinds of concerns. We've got infiltration proposed in this area. There's 400 lineal feet of infiltration up here in what we call Cindy Circle. There's another 400 lineal feet of infiltration proposed over here in what is called Meadow Lane. And a little further south down here, there's a new bathhouse going in down here. There's also infiltration proposed down in that area as well. Our thoughts are, right now, everything makes its way down here to the lake uncontrolled. Our thought process is everything that we can catch and infiltrate in all these areas up here reduces the amount of water flow that's going down in the Pound Lake over here. Currently, there's 3 basins up in this Meadow Lane area. They literally go into a pipe that literally dumps right there in Pine Lake. And it's very evident if you go there. There's a sandbar out here that probably.
Remember you showed us that, yeah, you showed us the sandbar, right, yeah.
So the whole idea of this, we infiltrate all this water up in this particular zone up here. I think we ran a 10-year storm. This thing has a volume to handle a 10-year storm before water ever goes out there. So, you know, we think we're doing some pretty good things right in there. There's another pipe down in here. I know, I think Dan told me he put it in maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And at some point when he was down at the Cape enjoying himself, some other person come over and filled one end of it in. So now the water, some collects in there still. We were there, you can't even see the end of this pipe, and there was water still running out of the end of that pipe. But for the majority of it, a lot of it's just running right across the road, causing erosion and issues down on this end of the pond. We propose to put a storm scepter in here to treat the water that it is receiving before it discharges into the lake. I know these drawings are kind of hard to see, but there's existing sites here with retaining walls and elevated cabins up on them, if you remember. And there was no parking provided in this area. Well, there's this one site right here that there was nothing on. Years ago, they had, I think he said it was like a portable bathhouse during hot season, you know, busy seasons. They'd have it out there on site, and it'd be pumped and whatever, and then it would go away. On that particular area, we're gonna revamp that into a 4 to 5 car gravel parking area. That also happens to be about the lowest spot in 2 directions on Lake Shore Drive there. So here, we're gonna put in another storm scepter. We're gonna pick up the runoff from Lake Shore Drive and coming around these cottages, again, treat it through the storm scepter, discharge it over into the lake. The fire department had this area again on the waterfront. This bank is disturbed right in here already. A couple years ago, we ended up putting the cow manure from the petting zoo on the site, and they kind of made a mess getting it out of there. And so that site's a little bit disturbed. So we're going to do a restoration with the conservation. We actually walked it with them today, showing them, our proposal, because the fire department has asked that we provide them with some sort of hydrant down at this end of the lake. We do currently have a hydrant up here. They asked to have something down here. So we propose a dry hydrant, again, in that same location. The area's disturbed, the shoreline's disturbed, why not provide it there? Other things we're doing, we're giving them back. There's riverfront area involved in this site. A lot of it's been disturbed, this particular area up here. This is actually where the petting zoo was. That's all going away. This all gets restored. It's all going back to nature. We're eliminating cottages that were down here on the wetland over here. So we feel, we're giving back a lot. The density on Village Circle here, we're reducing it from 18 to 12 or 13. We're removing the sites that are right up along the dam over here. We're moving the ones that are right adjacent to the pond over here. So we are proposing a small bathhouse in here, 20 by 27. Some of the, I think you want to talk about the buildings that are going in quickly, or?
Well, it's up to you. I mean,
Steve can
I
address
think
that.
we have a pretty good
Okay.
overview
All
of the whole
Steve,
thing.
Steve will adjust where they are. Okay.
Good.
So, I mean, as far as the stormwater, the storm scepter is going in down here. Right now, the water just goes down that driveway, runs off the side, runs right into the brook. The brook's about 15 feet away. So there's another storm scepter going in that area to treat that particular water. We've done an extensive amount of work here to collect and treat this water.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. You have, yes,
And,
very definitely.
that's pretty much the extent of what
Great.
I have as far as the stormwater.
Great.
Steve, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Let me now bring up Scott Morrison, who can speak briefly about a concern that is not really primary with the board, but it's wetlands and lake management.
Yeah, just for the record, my name's Scott Morrison from Ecotech.
Speaking to
I've been involved with the Conservation Commission. We filed a notice of intent a couple months ago to document and determine the extent of the wetlands on the site. During that application, we also provided some information for treatment of the nuisance aquatics management in the lake. So as a commitment to try and improve that lake, they're doing all kinds of additional work through this plan, but that's kind of the first step to go through to treat it. That was approved by the Conservation Commission, and we've subsequently filed a new notice of intent for this proposed work. So we're before the commission. We were actually meeting with them earlier today, going through kind of the details, and we have a meeting on Thursday, and we're working through the process with the Conservation Commission to get this project
Great,
approved.
thank you. Yeah, we did receive a letter on June 27th informing us that this was moving forward, so we certainly appreciate that. I know it'll.
And then one last professional, Stephen Fleischman, who is going to help us with our buildings. And Steve, you can whip through these if you'd like. You just they're in order, starting with the Resort Center and then going to the Minuteman and then going from there.
I was actually going to use that. Good evening, everyone. My name's Stephen Fleischman. I'm with Stephen Fleischman Architect, located in Brimfield. Any chance I have that site plan back there? Because I think the biggest thing I wanted to go through is kind of walk through that with you guys, just for the sense of, I know the plans, even at a 24 by 36, it's kind of small. Yeah, which I got to orient myself so I know which way we're going. Yeah. So typically in a project, when you tell someone you're working on a project with 10 buildings, the architecture is pretty significant, but in this case. So my role is fairly small with the buildings, but nonetheless, we'll head you through this. So River Road, Off to the end there, when you come in through a gate, you will enter the resort center, which would be the first. I may be able to do it like this. Yeah, so right here is a little resort center. There's a cluster, as Philip described earlier. There's the patio area, and then we have 2 conference centers located there. So as a total, we're going to have 1 resort center, 3 conference centers, and 6 bathhouses. Okay? So we have the Minuteman Conference Center, the White Conference Center in those locations, and those have amenities such as general purpose meetings. There's a laundrette and the White. The White would be used for a movie night. We're going to have a high-tech sound system, so they'll be able to show movies to their guests. And the Minuteman actually is going to have a barbecue area off of the patio that you saw, the outside dining area. If we move from there, we come over, the other conference center is on the beach, and that's the Beach Conference Center. Going to have a large deck off the rear of that overlooks the lake. Again, same amenities, general meeting space, warming kitchen in case there's an event, the ability for potential outdoor entertainment on the deck and such. So those are the 3 conference centers. And now, let's see, we got the resort center, and I think there's a bathhouse going to be located here. The Village, there's a bathhouse located in this area, which is right there, I think it is. That's the upper. The Beach has its own bathhouse, which has outdoor showers. I've got to find the pool. It's right here with its own bathhouse and laundry. And then we come down, there's another, I'm totally upside down here, I apologize. So there's one in here, which would be the central, and then the lower, which is all the way down there. So that basically covers all of them. They're distributed throughout the site so that you're not traveling long distances to gain those. Just real quick, we can flip through the elevations, everything, hip roofs, try to minimize the scale. This would be the Minuteman that was just there previously, Minuteman with the open conference room. All the buildings, the largest building is the resort center. That's 4,700 square feet. And that really houses administrative offices, registration, a general store, and a fitness center with exercise equipment, billiard room, and an arts and crafts room. That's our largest facility. And then we go down to the smallest. I think we have the Village bathhouse at 540 square feet, just almost the size of someone's shed at their home. So. And that's the end. See, they cut me off. Any questions? Where's the hook?
Presentation and a sub-presentation.
And we certainly do appreciate that, and we did have the opportunity with the previous presentations during the visit to see a lot of this too. So we're very impressed with the improvements that are going to go on there. So basically, I want to open it up now to questions from the planning board. I'll start maybe on this end first. Frank, do you have any questions?
The only follow-up question, because Mr. Moreau was very thorough on our site visit, and obviously there's been a lot of thought put to this presentation, but there was one follow-up I wanted to ask where you had said on our site visit that undesirables would be turned away at the gate. Can you just talk a little bit about what that process would look like, and if there's on-site security, or how would you go through that process?
At all of our parks on busy weekends, there is on-site security that generally stays on duty till about 2 a.m. to keep noise and enforce our quiet hours. We will have a standing rule that basically your recreation vehicle has to be approximately 10 years or younger to be allowed into the park, and our managers will have the discretion to effectively ask long, hard questions about who the people are before they come in. Our interview process, if you will, is rather rigorous, and we really try to get a feel for, is this person going to be a good RVer guest for us? We've found that the problem is not getting them into the park, it's getting them out of the park if they refuse to leave. And we want to avoid that. So in one element, it's kind of a subjective call. If the person's RV doesn't meet our criterion And if the person smells of alcohol or is obviously on some type of drug, we certainly wouldn't want that person in our park. And that's really about the extent of it. It's a very subjective process that you have to kind of trust your intuition about whether the person's going to be a good guest for us.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Mike?
So I thought the site review was awesome. You know, being able to get to the site and actually see it firsthand was really helpful. I think you guys have done tremendous work, and I really don't have any questions. I think the residents of Sturbridge would really enjoy having this park here. So.
Well, thank you very much. That's great. Thank you.
Sue?
I too enjoyed the tour and the time that was given to each of us with our questions. But as a result of this presentation, I just don't understand about the water flow and how it's going to end up at the lake and being treated first before it goes into the lake. Are there pipes throughout the? I just don't understand.
There'll be additional basins and infiltration structures throughout the park.
Explain what that is, Steve. Explain what an infiltration structure.
Is that like a French drain?
And a storm scepter.
Yeah, I mean, so basically these infiltration systems are detention basins or detention ponds, but it's all held underground. All right, we use basically the same type of units as you'd use as a septic system. They're underground. They're packed in pipe. The water goes in. They go into a deep sunk cake basin first. That gives it a certain degree of treatment before it can go into these infiltrators, and then it infiltrates into the ground. The sediment suds out, and then once that little unit fills up, then it'll start to outflow again. And the way we've designed these systems is we have multiples all connected. So one fills up, it's just going to overflow into another, and then another, and then another, and then finally it's going to hit that discharge pipe that goes down to the lake now. And the idea is by the time it hits those, there's not much left to them anymore. It's actually treated water. Not treated chemically, but treated by removing suspended solids.
The sediment will sink. The water will just kind of bounce
Okay.
along.
Like along the riverways.
You won't have
the
all the
brooks.
sediment spilling into the lake, choking the lake.
Okay, thank you.
That's how I understand it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm with you.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. Heather?
Most of the pictures that you've shown us of your other parks seem to be a little bit more open. Ours is so wooded and a little different in that respect. So could you tell us about the materials that you're going to use for the various buildings that you're going to use, that you're going to have on site? I understand that as much as you want them to blend in, you also want to be able to see them. So, you know, having a woodsy setting probably makes that a little bit different than your other locations. And perhaps you could explain what I like the low profile of the building. I think that's a great idea, because right now you have various structures and different heights in there. So maybe you could tell us what the buildings are going to be made out of and what they'll look like.
Because the buildings are going to be sizable, I've kind of ruled out in my mind having a log siding. My Amish brothers down in Pennsylvania would love to put the log siding on. They do it all the time. Our park in Pennsylvania, as you may have seen pictures, has log siding on, and that's a very wooded area also, although there's an open field, but there's also very dense wooded areas. So here, I'm leaning more towards, and also because of durability, a soft vinyl, and it can be a vinyl shake as you saw in that picture of the conference center. It can be a vinyl plank, if you will, soft pastel colors, and architectural 25 to 50 to lifetime roofs that complement obviously the siding. So the short answer would be I'm leaning heavily towards vinyl siding. It's durable, it stands up well, it'll do well in this climate, and architectural shingles on the roof, and kind of a deco, kind of a American bungalow feel overall, if you know that genre. It's really where my head's at in regards to lighting and furniture and things such as that.
I think I mentioned to you I have added on to my house, and I have a log house, and I have the wood siding, and I understand it's more upkeep and so on, but I think the shake look that you have, that one picture of the vinyl, the shake siding, I think looks really nice.
It really looks,
it
I mean,
look-
it looks really good.
I know it does. I mean, they make them so well now that they really do. And what kind of delineation will you have for walkways and so on, so that, I mean, will it be a different material? Or I don't know how you're going to do that. Or will they be gravel?
Well, around the buildings, we'll have, there'll be a cement walkway around the buildings going into the doors. And then between the buildings and elsewhere, we generally go with it's like a pea gravel, a very fine, like a crushed DG,
Right.
decomposed granite. And we'll have the binder board outlining the sidewalk so that the gravel is contained and it stays nice and full.
It looks like you've done landscaping at all your buildings also on your other sites.
I'm a nut to have around the base of
Right.
all the buildings,
Looks
she's
really
gotta
nice.
have that landscaping look.
It does
And
look
as I've
nice.
said before, I can spend the millions of dollars that we're gonna be spending on this infrastructure. And if I don't spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars on the landscaping, I've just made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's all about the landscaping.
It looks really nice in your photos.
And we are very serious about it, and I'm almost getting good at it.
Oh, good. Well, I think this is a great improvement for our town, and I think you're doing a wonderful job so far. I'm very impressed with everybody's input, and thank you for the tour.
Well, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Those are nice words. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good, Jim?
The tour was very valuable in getting to understand the park and what it was. It was kind of a private place that we didn't get to see. And what we saw was a sad shape. And what we've seen so far is very promising. The tour created a lot of the questions we had, and by Mr. Moreau and by Ms. Boubon, they were all pretty well answered. And I think that, speaking for myself certainly, I feel very comfortable going forward at this point.
Excellent.
Jim,
Thank you very much.
Russell?
Just echo what everybody said. I think the tour was extremely helpful, especially given the size of the property, and I appreciate giving that opportunity. The only question I had, I didn't see a memo from Greg. Is everything good with Greg? I mean,
Yes, he's just awaiting the, final DEP approval of the wastewater treatment facility, that, to make sure that we have that and that he gets a copy of those plans for his records as well in the event that, there's a failure, even though it will be privately operated, but still want to keep an eye on things like that.
We operate a plant now at our park in Pennsylvania. And we've had some experience with it, and it's,
and one of the questions I had was answered by the low flow in the wintertime, how that treatment plant worked, so that answered another one of my questions. A few of my questions were answered tonight, so
Very good.
appreciate
sometimes you're
appreciate
lucky.
the effort.
Very good. Okay. What I'd like to do now then is open up the public hearing to the public. Any comments from the public that you'd like to bring forward on this? Okay, I guess that shows that it's been a great presentation, and we're all very happy with what's been presented. So we do have, in order of conditions here, we have 11 conditions. Jean, do you want to go through those, or?
Sure. And these proposed conditions have been provided to the applicant in advance. And to the best of my knowledge, they have no concerns with these proposed conditions. So number one, all construction and site improvements shall be in conformance with the plans submitted and approved by the planning board. 2, all state and local zoning bylaws, building codes, and regulations must be adhered to. 3, all other necessary permits must be obtained prior to the start of construction. 4, the site shall be kept in a neat and orderly condition throughout the construction process. 5, exterior construction shall only occur during the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. No exterior construction shall occur on Sundays or on the following holidays: New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. 6, the applicant shall notify the planning department office 48 hours prior to the start of construction. 7, an emergency contact phone list with at least 2 names and numbers on it be supplied to the Sturbridge Police Department and the Planning Department to be used by the dispatchers in the case of an off-hour emergency prior to the start of the project. The list must be updated whenever necessary for the duration of the project. 8, all erosion and sedimentation control shall be installed as shown on the plan and inspected prior to the start of work. 9, 2 copies of the DEP approval and final plan shall be provided to the Planning Department once obtained, and the on-site wastewater treatment facility system must be installed and operational prior to the opening of the park. 10, the applicant shall meet with the chief of police prior to the start of demolition/construction to discuss traffic control during construction period. 11, an as-built must be provided for all site work, including plantings, when the work has been completed.
Very good, thank you. Can I have a motion then to approve the site plan approval?
So moved.
Okay, second?
No one, second.
All in favor? Very good, congratulations, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Should we go close the hearing?
What's that?
Do we need to close the?
How many?
Oh, yeah, we should have closed the public hearing,
Yeah,
actually.
we can do that now.
We'll correct that.
Right,
right,
exactly.
Yes, actually, Gene, we should have had a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, yes, you should have gotten a
So,
motion to close the
I'll ask
public
for a
hearing.
motion to close the public hearing.
So
Chris. So moved, second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and now we'll take the motion to approve the site plan.
So moved.
Russell?
Second.
All in favor. So we've corrected that little oversight.
Oh, we've done it twice.
Very good,
Good job.
thank you.
No, there's just
7
2
minutes
members of
over.
the Board of Selectmen sitting in the audience, so
did
the
good,
lady in
though.
the
I like the
middle
way
and
you
the
done it.
gentleman.
7 minutes, not bad.
Thank you.
Well,
Not
we're still
bad.
gonna finish
That
up.
was really good.
Okay, so
You're welcome.
do we have anyone to talk about the Haines Street project, or?
Yes, they're out in the hallway waiting to come in. Could I just give you 2 little more quick planner updates while
Sure,
they're
oh yeah, definitely,
switching?
yeah, go ahead.
So, the HEAL project, the medical marijuana facility, will be starting construction tomorrow. I have a site visit at 8 a.m. to check erosion controls, and they'll be bringing equipment on site. And number 2, 9 Holland Road, they would like to bring an office trailer to potentially try to get some sales of the condominium units to see if they can, I guess, drum up some
Great.
interest in the project. So I told them that would be fine. I just wanted to update the board. I'll make sure they go through conservation and get a building permit for
I think
that.
that'd be a great thing,
that
really,
would
be really
to
good.
show they're really moving forward, that'd be
Yeah.
terrific. Great.
Thank you.
They get, any idea when they're gonna come in?
Well, we're still having some discussions. One of the big issues is that, the financing because of the mixed use, so they're kind of struggling with that a little bit. So we might have to get creative with maybe connecting the buildings through the fitness center or something. I'm not quite sure. So we're still hashing those ideas out. But hopefully soon. He wanted to file this week for a hearing next week, but Burton Engineering had different ideas about that. So, so we shall see.
Very good.
Right.
Okay, so this is the Petrogas project at 234 to 236 Haines Street, and we understand that the issue that's come up is that as you began to look into renovations of the building, you found that there's some really issues there that you need to do much more of reconstruction on the building itself. So pretty much the outside of it is going to look just the way you had planned before. It's just that it'd be kind of a 90% reconstruction rather than just a renovation. Right, so I think that basically, I don't think we have any issues. If you want to go over something, about that, fine. But I think that the whole idea that Gene thought you should come in is just that there is somewhat of a change, but it really isn't much of a change over what we've improved before.
That's correct. For the record, my name is Gary Sadler, architect of Upland Architects. With me is Jonathan Silva and Bo Walter. They're on our project team. That's a package of the most current floor plan and the elevations. Again, the floor plan and the elevations are unchanged. As you stated, we had a structural engineer go out and take a look at the existing walls. And that building is a lot of mixed construction techniques in there, to put it nicely, that our structural engineer doesn't feel very comfortable with. And given the significance of the remodel, thought it would be best for, really for safety, to, put in new. So we were demolishing significant amount of the building interior itself, but we find ourselves having to take a little more of the exterior walls out. But it's structural. I mean, like I said, the interior and exterior are going to look exactly as portrayed in the.
Right, so basically, the approvals we've already provided will still be in place.
Will be intact,
Right.
exactly.
So do we need any other motions on it, or?
I would just like maybe a motion and a vote of the board to acknowledge this as a minor modification. Because normally I would do a minor modification in the field and have them reflected on the as-built, but since this involved taking down most
The
of the
building,
building,
okay.
I felt more comfortable if the board approved that
Well, that sounds good. All right.
change.
I'll take a motion then to approve this minor modification. So the idea is that instead of like just renovating the whole thing, because the structural that they found in here, wasn't really that well done, they're gonna be taking down, like 90% of the building.
What's it
and
gonna
putting
look like
back
when
up.
it's done?
So it's gonna look
Same
just
as-
like it did before.
Oh, same.
So in other words, they haven't changed anything on the overall
Oh,
plan.
thank you.
So it's just gonna be, the methods and
Okay.
means are gonna be different because
I'm all set.
they're gonna be doing a lot more work than they thought they were.
I get it.
But as far as we're concerned, everything's the
Everything
same
else is
and
the same.
in
Exactly.
great shape. So
Thank
we'll take a
you.
motion. from Sue,
So moved,
And a
yep.
second, Russell. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor? Great. Thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Good luck
That
with
was
the
easy.
project.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay. Anything else for your update, or?
Missed a meeting or something.
I didn't see the address.
I missed a meeting or something.
No, we.
Is this a while ago? Was I here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when we had the idea of, they're gonna have to.
That is
Right.
It's taking down the mobile station and the other thing and putting this up building.
I think they need sewer and water. This would be great. We need sewer and water. This would be great. We need sewer and water. Unbelievable highway access.
Okay,
Night.
very good. Thank you again for coming in. Anything else on your update, Gene, or is that it? Okay. Any old business? Russell? No old business? New business, anyone?
I just wanted
Nick,
to.
Yeah.
I didn't do this at the last meeting, but I was reappointed as the planning board representative on the Community Preservation Committee. I just wanted to make a notation of that.
Very good.
I got my notification, I forgot to mention it.
Great. Very good. And we've already announced when the next meeting is? It's
Yes, August 14th.
August 14th. Very good. I'll take a motion then to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Think that they-